Questions? Mr. McGovern?
Yeah, well, I want to thank this entire panel for being here. Look, I was raised to believe that government should be a force of good to help people, not to hurt people. And I think of late government has become, everything that I believe it shouldn't be. And so many of my constituents have been hurt. They're being negatively impacted by the ACA premium, the ACA tax benefit not being extended. They've been hurt by the SNAP, withholding of SNAP. I mean, and here's the deal. And I appreciate Ms. Hayes being very diplomatic, saying that she didn't think the president intended it to be this way. But I just, you know what? I think he did. And that's what really bothers me. I mean, because he had the authority before the federal courts intervened, and not one ruling, but two rulings, and then he decided he would appeal. And I was trying to think, like, who would do that? I mean, all the ICE agents got paid, right? Right. Yeah. Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, all the ICE agents get paid, and no questions asked. But he's withholding SNAP benefits. I mean, look, we just heard about the corruption going on in the Senate, where where senators can get up to $1 million if they say that a court looked at their phone records, who they called. I mean, that's it. And yet we can't extend the ACA tax credits so that 24 million people can afford their health insurance, so that they don't have to live through a nightmare of not having insurance and they have kids, or somebody who's sick and, is afraid to go to the hospital because they had to give up their insurance because they couldn't afford it, and so they're putting off getting seen by a doctor, and all of a sudden something gets much, much worse. I mean, like, what's going on in this country? I mean, $40 billion to this right-wing cuckoo clock in Argentina, but the administration can't find it within their heart to make sure that 40 million Americans get the SNAP benefits that they're entitled to. I mean, I think, I say this all the time, the more I hear Republicans, the more I hear the speaker talk about this issue, the more I come to the conclusion that we just don't share the same values. I mean, I believe that food ought to be viewed as a fundamental human right. I think you do too. I think health care ought to be viewed as a fundamental human right, and I think you do too. And for whatever reason, we're having these arguments over whether just regular people, struggling people, can get benefits, quite frankly, that they should be entitled to. We argue over that stuff, but nobody argues over, $1 million, a special, giveaway to certain U.S. senators, or tax cuts for multimillionaires and billionaires, or big corporations get all these little sweetheart deals, or $40 billion to bail out Argentina. I mean, this is like a Twilight Zone episode. This is crazy. This is nuts. And I think people have had it. And I said earlier today, I don't really think this is about Democrat versus Republican or left versus right. It's just about people just don't want to be ignored. They see, the president tweeting about the golden marble in the Lincoln bathroom, and this new Marie Antoinette, ballroom, that he's building, while they're worried about, are they going to get food for the week? Will they be able to afford health care? Will they have to go without health care? Their rents are going up, groceries are going up. He was on 60 Minutes saying they're not. When's the last time he was in a grocery store? And I don't know how many of you saw this, but the USDA actually sent out a notice to grocery stores, basically telling them that they cannot offer food at a discounted rate for people on EBT. I mean, how the hell did you want?
I did. I just want to say that for many of the American people, they think that this is something that just started on November 1st. These attacks against SNAP have been going on for years. And when people realize the work requirements, right, the exemptions have been changed, when people realize that the age of a minor child went from 18 to 14, when people realized the administrative costs and burdens that are shifted to the state and all of the cuts that
That's
are
in the
going
new
to
ugly
be
bi- the big
triggered
ugly bill,
by
yeah.
the one big beautiful bill, $178 billion in cuts to SNAP. So this isn't new. So for everyone who's thinking, I mean, even today, after my state released the benefits, you still have, not like other things where you can pay retroactively. You can't feed somebody from
No.
last week that
Right.
was hungry.
You're
We
right.
still have lines outside of churches, outside of food pantries. The fact that last week we saw uniformed service members in line at food banks before they reported for duty on the base should be egregious to everybody. At the same time, it'd be one thing if that was happening in isolation, but it's happening against the backdrop of permanent tax cuts for the wealthiest individuals, a ballroom being built, a Great Gatsby party, $40 billion in subsidies to a foreign country. All of these things are happening at the exact time where the president, literally today, I'll find the money to give bonuses to TSA agents who I feel like were loyal. Where are you going to get the money? I don't know. I'll find it. But when it came to feeding hungry children, you didn't even have to look for the money. The money was right there. It was right there, and the president decided that he would not use it.
And I will say, I want to push back on right-wing, social media for posting a lot of really, a lot of lies about SNAP and about who's on SNAP. I mean, there was something circulating that 59% of the people on SNAP are not Americans. I mean, it's just crazy. But it got all these followers, or or people just need to work. Well, the majority of able-bodied adults on SNAP who are able to work actually do work. Some work 2 jobs, and they still don't earn enough, and they qualify for SNAP. Children, senior citizens, veterans are on SNAP. And the idea that rather than making sure that people in need get the food benefit that they're entitled to, they get demonized, and all this false information gets put out there. But again, food and health care should be things that, we all should come together on. And it really bothers me that we can't, which makes me conclude that we don't share the same values. And I don't know, how things get turned around. Maybe they don't get turned around until the next election. But I don't think people can wait. People are going to lose their health care like now. And so I support your amendments, and I look forward to working with you. But I appreciate you being here at this late hour. It means a lot. Thank you.
Ms. Scanlon, you're recognized.
Thank you. I just want to thank this panel